Alright, so for the first movie of October that I decided to watch, originally I planned on coming up with an actual list of a bunch of stuff that I was interested in seeing but had never seen before, and then really committing to that list, and every day I would watch the movie that I had in mind. And then I came up with another idea that kind of expanded on that, and maybe I'll tell you about that one a little differently, but anyway, it ended up being really ambitious, and the idea kind of would have combined me watching these movies with my production on Angeli, and I was going to have a bunch of new stuff featured every video, but I decided to scrap that, and now my new idea for what I'm going to be doing as far as October, so that it's not stressful at all, because I don't want that to happen. This is just something to be that's supposed to be enjoyable. So to ensure that that happens, I'm really just gonna watch something, kind of spur of the moment, just kind of what I'm in the mood for, or maybe what I'm interested in seeing, and I might even use some of the ideas that I had planned earlier for movies I wanted to watch, but I'm not gonna commit to I have to watch like this movie on this day. I'm just gonna pick one every day and give you my thoughts on that. And I might even watch a movie I have seen already. It doesn't even. I'm not even limiting myself to just seeing movies I haven't seen before. As long as it would make the video interesting, as long as it still counts toward watching a movie every day for the month. But basically, going with that spirit, I I don't know why. The first movie I saw was Tyler Perry's Boo, a Madea Halloween. And I know what you're thinking, Nick. Why would you do this to yourself? But this I don't really know why I watched it. John's antics, his obsession with Boo, and especially the trailer for Boo, kind of because he knows that it annoys me, is really what has caused this movie to never leave my mind. The movie itself never lived up to the hype of the John meme, because really, and I'm sure John will be offended by this, but I didn't really like the movie. But it's not even like I'm really struggling about thinking about things to say about this movie, because it is just so dull. Almost nothing happens the entire movie. I basically watched this whole film just kind of silently bored, you know. Um, there is technically a plot in that Tyler Perry plays three characters. A kind of stay-at-home single dad who's raising a teenage daughter, as well as a younger son who's only in one scene or two scenes in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and then we never see him again. So whatever, that's not important. Then he also plays Madea, of course, the mother of this father figure, the teenage daughter's grandmother, and then he also plays Medea's hubby. So three characters in total. Plot wise, they live pretty close to a college fraternity. They're having this big crazy Halloween party, and the dad is worried about the girl, that she might get lured into the fraternity, and so he invites Madea to look after her while he's going out of town for some reason, and just keep an eye on her and make sure that she doesn't try to sneak out. And then chaos ensues. That's how it looks like in paper, anyway. Really, it's more of just an excuse to get to scenes of Tyler Perry improving. Almost the entire movie is just improvised, and it really shows, because characters stutter and repeat a lot of the same lines multiple times. To give you one example, the longest scene in the movie, which lasts about 15 or 20 minutes, this one scene in the first act, is the moment Madea, her husband, her two girlfriends, come over to the dad's house, and he's trying to explain to them what he wants them to do to take care of his daughter. And really, Tyler Perry stages this scene to be like a traditional comedy scene where all the characters are just basically talking randomly, cracking jokes left and right. And it's pretty obviously spur of the moment, whatever the actual actors were thinking of that would be funny. I chuckled a couple times, more so because I was just desperate for anything, but I'll give him credit. These movies, they have an appeal, they have an audience built in. It's not like they're trying to make the movie for everybody and it's so watered down that it ends up being for nobody. Instead, it's only made for a very specific audience that likes Tyler Perry's style, and it's unapologetic about that. There's no shameless product placement in the whole movie. There's no like cheap. I mean, okay, the movie is pretty cheap in terms of the fact that a lot of the stuff is just kind of stays like a TV movie. But the one thing the movie does very well is, as Tyler Perry is dressed up in Madea, as Madea in makeup and costume, and also as the husband of Madea in similar old man makeup. Even though the makeup itself isn't impressive, the one thing the movie does well is giving the impression that all of these characters are interacting with each other, even though Tyler Perry is playing all three of them and he's not in the same room at the same time. Through the editing, through the staging, through a little bit of digital splicing with the effects, much more so than Jack and Jill, where it's so obvious. The one kind of interesting scene is the final scene of the movie. It's actually kind of shockingly violent and inappropriate. There's a running joke, if you can call it that, throughout the movie, that Tyler Perry was abused as a child by Madea and the father, and conversely, he's just kind of like a hands-off kind of father with his teenage daughter. He doesn't hit her. He tries to do her right, but that wasn't the case with his childhood. And this is played for comedy. There's one odd scene where the joke is in one particularly heated moment in his childhood, his dad threw him off the roof as punishment, and he didn't realize that he had a pencil in his pocket, and the pencil punctured the boy's testicle, which caused him to go to surgery and get it removed, so now he only has one ball. And that's the joke. Whatever. But throughout the movie, they're kind of Madea and her friends are kind of making fun of the dad for being a pushover, for letting the girl get off too easy, for not really taking advantage. And it's funny, I guess, because, or it's supposed to be funny because their suggestions for better parenting are just basically beating her. But at the end of the movie, they kind of do that, where they decide to prank the girl, her friends, and the college fraternity crowd for all the shenanigans they've pulled out throughout the movie by staging an arrest, getting them sent onto a bus, and having that bus filled with real-life criminals also going to a jail. And due to a misunderstanding, there's a riot on the bus, and all of the prisoners just start beating everybody, including all of the kids. And meanwhile, Madea and her friends and the dad are just kind of watching this, basking at like, yeah, isn't this fun? Because it's the end of the movie, the music's swelling, it's like a heartwarming moment that, oh man, it's kind of surreal, honestly. So watching all these, it's like the movie has a sappy, heartwarming plot about the father trying to get the daughter to respect him more, and just at the end of the emotional beat, it ends with all of these children being beaten to death on a bus full of criminals as a joke, and then that's the end of the movie. I think there are no supernatural shenanigans. There are no actual monsters in this movie. The trailer's pretty misleading. Instead, Instead, all of the Halloween spooks going on to Medea and her friends that are causing her to freak out are just part of a prank pulled by the college fraternity as payback for Medea calling the cops on them in an earlier scene. And that's a big letdown. I think that was a mistake on Tyler Perry's part. I think the movie would have been much more enjoyable if there were actual monsters that Medea was that had to fight. It also opened the door for more slapstick humor, which I think is the stuff that works the most in this movie. There's something kind of amusing about Medea punching a clown, and instead of a punch sound effect, it's like a horn honking sound effect. I mean, that's cute. I think having a movie of Medea punching goblins would have been much more fun than just this, which ended up being just a dull, eventless movie for the most part. Even the Halloween aesthetic is kept on a serious low note. The whole movie takes place in Halloween. There's one scene where they're handing out candy to trick or treaters, and there's some like decorations everywhere. But for the most part, this movie has nothing to do with Halloween. It could have taken place anywhere. It could have just been a movie about a regular college party that was on theme to a holiday. It could have been just a regular Tyler Perry movie. And now there's going to be a sequel this year, released in, or completely conceived and to be released in less than like 8 months. And well, you got to hand it to him. The man's efficient. I think the movies are fine because of the fact that they're for a specific audience that likes this style of humor, and that's really what I'm trying to get at. They don't try to like just cheap pollute the filmmaking waters. They don't stand for like the poison of Hollywood. They're more just like honest movies. And they might be bad movies, but they're still honest attempts. And at the end of the day, I can't be mad at something like that. I hate to say it, but Tyler Perry's probably doing more good. No, I'm not going to say that. That's crap. This movie sucks. It's so bad. Don't ever watch it.